There's a really dangerous kind of advice that may sound helpful, but it could be really hurtful. I had someone tell me that physical and mental pain is a failure to focus. That if I just looked up and prayed, biology will automatically fix itself. Your mental state will just clear itself. All ailments gone. Just pray, bro. And I told him on the phone, here's the problem. I don't think what you're trying to say is bad, but I feel like there's a difference between healing and ignoring reality. And when you can't distinguish the two, you end up worsening the situation. But to prove his point to me about prayer will just immediately remove all problems you have in your life, he brought up the story of the serpent and Moses, right? And the Egyptians, the Israelites, whatever. And I have a very different interpretation of it. And even if you're not religious, I feel like my interpretation can be very useful to understanding and dealing with misery. Just to summarize, when Moses freed the Israelites from Egypt and they were traveling the desert, they started complaining about the travel. I mean, they were traveling the desert for about 40 years, right? And the Israelites were like, this sucks. The food sucks. I don't want to travel anymore. I'd rather be a slave in Egypt just because at least we got shelter and food to eat. And they started questioning Moses and God to the point where they claimed that this God of Abraham is full of it and Moses is a manipulator. So at this point, they were like, man, we going back to Egypt. Like, I'd rather be a slave than walk around this desert. So in the Bible, God got so mad about this, right? And he set down fiery serpents, which were really poisonous snakes, into the camp of the Israelites complaining, right? And obviously the snakes would bite them, and some of them, they didn't make it. So the ones that did survive were like, Moses, please pray for us. The God of Abraham, please make him cure us. We're sorry, cuh. And then God told Moses to make a serpent out of bronze and then set it on top of a staff or a pole, whatever, right? And this brass snake, it didn't move or anything, right? But Moses said that if you were bitten by these poisonous snakes and you wanted to live, simply look up at the snake, at the serpent on the pole, right? And if you had faith in God, you would do it. And basically everyone who looked up got healed. All poisonous snake bite just magically healed itself. Now, what this guy was telling me on the phone was that story is literally proof that God heals everything. Just look up and pray. That's it. And that's the symbolism of the story. And again, it proves prayer heals everything. Now, I told him, I understand what you're saying, but I don't have the same interpretation that you have about these Bible stories. This story is not literal to me. I don't believe people bitten by poisonous snakes just looked up at a bronze piece of metal on a stick and miraculously got healed. I'm sorry to tell you, I just don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? However, I think this story is very important and it goes over everyone's head. And they don't teach this in Sunday school. This story has a paradox. The cure is hidden inside of the poison. What do I mean by this? The Bible story doesn't have to be interpreted from such a surface level of don't complain about the gifts God gave you and pray and everything will magically happen and be fixed for you. The interpretation I have is that this is a story about human psychology. Look, the same thing that hurt them is the same thing that healed them. The Israelites were unhappy, whining, prideful, ungrateful, rebellious, pessimistic, and cynical people. And they were all negative. They had all these negative emotions and feelings that bring chaos to their life. It's kind of ironic that toxic and poisonous behavior that spreads to other people and hurts others ends up being symbolized as poisonous snakes. And then when Moses puts the bronze staff on the bronze snake on the staff, the same creature that hurt them that they were afraid of, they had to confront the image. The very thing they feared, they had to look at to heal. We are the problem, and we are the solution. The thing that will hurt you is the same thing that will heal you. If you go around with gloomy, negative, it's a negative cloud over your head, don't be surprised toxic behavior enters your life. Like the Israelites with their poor behavior, they caused their own suffering by complaining so much. Why are you crying for, bro? Like, what are you crying about? You just escaped slavery and you talk about you want to go back because you got to walk in the desert? The very limitations and chains you put on yourself because you're so comfortable with it, because it's easy to accept and deal with, like thinking negative of yourself or situations that involve you. You're basically like the Israelites, stomping your feet. Why me? Life is hard. I'm miserable. My life is miserable. I hate the food that I eat. I want to go back to the old days, the nostalgia, because I was comfortable and it was easy. And now diversity and the change in my life or environment is so hard for me. Like, bro, you literally complaining subconsciously like this is gonna make your life way harder. This is even like, this is just common sense at this point. So when Moses put the staff up, your own poison behavior, the own poison and behavior, a way to solve it is to confront it. They had to look at that staff with that snake on it. Same thing that they saw attack them at night. They're uncomfortable. They're uncomfortable with the fears of the things that make them unhappy and miserable. And you know what? This was action. You don't confront the snake, you're poisoned until then. Like the Israelites wanting to be cured. This story is very symbolic to addressing the poison and how it will also lead to your cure at the same time and your problems in life. When you address your problems, you will eventually arrive with the solution. And that's my interpretation of this. To say just pray and a miracle will happen and everything will just magically be fixed in your life without any action is not the same. The surface level interpretation of just pray to God and boom, all your problems and you just be magically fixed, I think that's dangerous advice. It's very dangerous advice. The prayer might be the backbone to fortitude, right? But you still need to confront your shadow. You still need to confront your problems. You may pray for hope and mental fortitude, but what about this thing here that you've been dealing with that's causing so much suffering for you? What are you going to do about it? So again, I told him, bro, I don't think it's okay to go around telling people who are physically and mentally unwell to just pray and wait for something to happen. No, get help. If you need to pray before or after or during you're getting help, fine. If it helps you mentally to stay focused or feel like you got something on your back, you got something helping you, you know what I'm saying? If you're religious, fine. But do something. I don't like how people teach this Bible story. It's just like, you know how this was taught to me originally too, when I was a kid. When I went to Sunday school when I was a kid, one thing it was like, boom, I'm sinful. I cannot save myself. Nothing to do besides pray and let's just wait for something to happen. Bro, no. Get up. Stop running away from the snake. Command it, like Moses did. Confront it. Confront the image of your sin in a non-religious manner if you're not religious or you don't believe in this stuff, right? Confront your internal conflicts. Don't just sit there and just wait for something. I mean, this is how I look at it. What do you guys think? I hope my interpretation was interesting at least. Like I said, I'm not saying he's wrong, but like, I just don't look at Bible stories like that. It's not just woo-woo worship God. No. There's a specific message within stories that are hard to see if you take it too literally. Can't wait for external stuff to start doing stuff for you. You got to address the problem yourself. Anyway, like I said, what do you guys think? Let me know down below. I love you guys. I'm out.